Yes, we are back to bring you the vibes, intellectual conversations, dope narrations, analysis, and dissections on the Illa Show, streaming live on television. My name is Mololua, and I never do this alone. With me is
yes,
Lydia.
Please.
The luscious Lydia. Good morning.
Good morning, Mo. I love your hair, by the way. You're looking stunning.
Thank you. Thank you. Less is more, man. I feel like that's my mantra. Works best for me. Keep it simple and keep it moving. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Doing all right. Still recovering from, Chivito week. So...
Still recovering. What was your own part to play?
I was just an online in-law,
Okay.
and I think that's as good as it gets right now. So.
Wow. You didn't follow David and Choma. They've flown out now.
Oh, yeah, they have. No. We gotta pay the bills.
Okay.
They have their bills covered. Some of us.
No, as in that wedding was...
It was...
a shutdown.
Yeah. It was literal shutdown because even there was so much traffic that day. Lots of people got home so late, so they literally had that. They literally shut down Lagos for the entire day.
My goodness me! I mean, what an occasion! But we can't do this without you all. We can't do this without you. So please do join the conversation by calling in on 0909 8408 408 to share your opinions on our trending discussions. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Let's have a look at our trending videos for the day.
That's how it bougie. That's how it bougie.
Was the lecturer sent the student out.
Okay.
And as he was going out, as the student was heading out, the lecturer now kind of, what do I call it, pulled him or pushed him out of the door.
Okay.
And then the student, I suppose, retaliated. First of all, swiped his arm off him and then pushed the lecturer.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And so people think differently about it.
Okay.
Okay, let me first of all even ask what you think, because...
So,
was he right to have... Was anything wrong, with what he did as a student?
So, they were definitely wrong on both sides.
Okay.
Because I'm always, team hands to yourself, for the most part. Because honestly, just keep your hands to yourself. It's already bad enough that you got sent out of class and everything. And I know, and I think the lecturer too should also not have done what he did.
Yes.
Like, it's bad. You're already sending him out. That's fine. You don't have to go ahead,
So
pushing
humiliate
him. And that just made it worse because he probably already felt bad for leaving the class.
Yes.
And I think there's just this general thing with, teachers and lecturers in general where they just, I think sometimes it gets a bit personal. So it's like, they feel, fine, they're my students, but they have this sort of parenting sort of mentality, and it's like, these are not your children, when you're home, you can do that to your children, or, but then these are other people's children, and more, even more, they're actually adults, so I think you should be able to have, you should, be able to have like a decent, relation. Fine, I sent you out of the class, go out of the class. I don't need to go ahead and, start being extra and, pushing you or hitting you or anything.
Yes.
So, on the other hand, I feel the student, I think pushing his hand away, it was would I say it was a good thing? I mean, yes, to an extent. But then I feel, the fact that he already, would I say touched him or, pushed him or whatever, it will just trigger more more actions. So that wasn't necessarily, to me, that wasn't necessarily like the best thing to do.
The lecturer started it. Why are you touching him?
To be fair,
what is the need to touch him?
There was no need.
So anything, I'm so sorry, but that student, all he did was push him away. He would never have had to push him away if you didn't come and touch him in the first place.
Actually.
So keep your own hands to yourself.
And honestly, it could have even ended there, but then he still took things up a notch. I mean, the lecturer still took things up a notch. So I feel, to me, the lecturer was in the wrong.
Yes.
Because, I mean, yes, students can be notorious and all of that, but then I think you should probably draw the line at words.
Exactly.
Don't get
you
physical.
Can't be touching people. Like you said, they're not your kids, but it's Africa. Like, we just feel like, oh, I have your type at home.
Exactly. That statement annoys me. They be like, I have your type at home. My youngest child, she's in the university. She just finished university. So you can't be. I'm like.
But I don't know. I still don't know you.
I still don't know you.
Like, that doesn't mean anything. Respect, of course. I understand as Africans we prioritize respect. Fine. I'm not saying I won't respect you, but you're not my mother. You're not my father. So let's get that clear. Because what you can do to your child, you can't do to me.
Exactly. If something happens to your child, fine, you're responsible for your child. But something happens to another person's child, because there's no way to hear that, he was misbehaving in class, and so I had to send him out, and then he made me angry. It's like, no, like the law will still be the law.
I'm not your kid. I feel like that one, parents need to get that one into their head. Like, even my own parents, I'm not even saying, even my own parents, when I see them behaving certain ways to other children, I'm like, you can't do that to them. Just because I take it doesn't mean you now go to someone else's kid. Don't let them go and disgrace you on the streets of London.
Yeah, but I think it gets really personal, it gets personal really quickly here in Africa. They just feel, you know how they always say, like, oh, it takes a village to raise a child, and all those kind of things.
To a degree.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why it tends to get really personal, because they just feel like, okay, I'm your teacher, I'm also quote and unquote, like your sort of like guardian or your parent figure at school, so I have to, this is the same thing I would do to my child. So I'm just like, no. Like, I am not your child, and all those boundaries should be established, not for speciality sake, but because it's the truth. We're not family members. I'm not your child. Like, if we already got verbal about it, we shouldn't have to get physical about it.
Period. On that note, let's have the second trending video.
David! David! I'm not sure David is inside though.
Hey, Daniel, you come.
David! David! I'm not sure David is inside though.
Hey, Daniel, you come.
Oh my gosh, David! Where's David? Where did David think he was running to?
It's how he was literally outside for me, and he walked all the way to go and find me.
Through the rain, everything. Nothing is too much.
It's the way I can relate so much. Like, because I have two sisters and I have, other cousins. And, they'll just be, they're calling one person. They can't find that person. They're okay, the nearest person should come. Like, no, let us find the person you are looking for. And so that, when it is my turn, I'll know that, yes, it's my turn.
Oh my
Don't come and start shifting, quote and unquote, responsibilities.
Oh, that thing is so funny. That is very, very funny. And younger siblings, especially, why do they always go missing when they're
right? Or something will come up, and then parents will just be like, oh, okay, she's doing something. Or I've been calling her, she's not responding. I'm like, what do you mean you've been calling her, she's not responding? When it was our turn, there was nothing like that. you know, they will come and hunt you down and they will find you and you come and do what you're supposed to do. You might even get some extra spanking because of that.
Because you didn't answer the first time.
Because you didn't answer the first time or you didn't even answer at all. And then now it's like, oh, you know, she's doing her homework or she's doing something. I'm just like, I cannot deal with this generation anymore.
This generation. See, are you talking as if you're one baby boomer? You cannot deal with this generation anymore.
I can't deal with them. That's the point.
But younger siblings, please be guided. What's that?
Honestly.
Or not just younger siblings. Don't go and hide when you're being called by mom or dad, and then you now make me have to do the work. Don't let's fight, please. Let's take the third trending video.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now
I can actually relate from my bone marrow.
Are you lactose intolerant?
Well, it depends on the day.
Oh, okay.
I can be. I can be lactose intolerant. I don't know. I think low-key, I've heard that like everybody is lactose intolerant to a degree. Because I don't know if we should be eating all this like full fat, like dairy. I don't know that it's actually good for us. So technically, yeah, I mean, I know that my body does somehow sometimes when I eat dairy, but like, what? Yes, but like,
I understand. I think we're just wired to, you know, do the things that are not necessarily good for us, you know, and because they don't necessarily have like, you know, grave consequences. We're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna eat the ice cream today, and
like
I'll bear the pain. I've dealt with worse, you know.
Lactose intolerant people are the only most stubborn set of people.
I don't know why, but they just always. I think it's just the, you know, like the deprivation thing around. It's like, oh, you can't have lactose. You know, your tummy's going to start hurting, or you're going to start, and it's just like, okay. So they spend like a lot of time, you know, not eating ice cream and other dairy products. So it's like, you know, once they start, it's just like, man, I've dealt with worse. Like, I can't come and kill myself. Not especially like maybe it's like a special event or you go out. I don't want to be the one having to, you know, sacrifice the ice cream that you haven't had for months. You're just like, nah, don't worry, I'll deal with the pain when I can.
Oh, you don't want to be the one that's looking annoying, like, oh, do you have dairy free?
Dairy free.
At you like, what do you think is
dairy free? Like, what exactly is dairy free
ice cream? Exactly. Someone would just like be like, do you understand what ice cream is? They're asking for dairy free ice cream.
So I don't blame you guys, honestly.
You're not lactose intolerant then?
No.
Are you sure? Are you sure you haven't just killed the intolerance?
Seriously?
Yes.
I no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to our stories for the day. A mother's post on social media has sparked debate after she expressed difficulty with her 19-year-old son wanting to start dating. The mother reportedly wrote in a Facebook group that she finds it hard to imagine another woman in her son's life. No. The post received mixed reactions, with some users calling out the mother for what they perceived as overstepping boundaries. The term emotional incest was used by some in response to the post. However, the mother reportedly defended her position, suggesting other mothers were simply envious of her close relationship with her son. This is giving like serious mommy boy syndrome.
Really? I think it's cute. So wait. I
can't date anybody whose mom is coming on the internet to say this.
So I think it also has to do with the age factor, right? So
he's 19 now.
I mean, he's 19, fine. But generally speaking, I think a lot of parents can't really handle the fact that their children are really transitioning into like new stages, adulthood. Even, you know, like even from, being a baby to, go into a toddler. I think like the growth is just so much for them because they're literally watching you grow. And, so I think she came from a very clean place. Well, most people, kind of interpreted it as.
No, she's the one that said herself that she can't imagine another woman in his life. Like, what?
I think it was just more of a sort of dramatic, you know, not necessarily dramatic. I mean, that might be how she feels, but not in a negative light. Like, not like, oh, I can't imagine another woman in my son's life. Like, I want to be the only woman there. No, like, more like...
But we have mothers like that. We have mothers that, like, they expect to be prioritized over their daughters-in-law. Yes. They're like, this is my son. Like, you are just a wife.
A wife.
I am his mother. And they therefore take that sort of, I am the queen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you're not the queen of this castle. You're the queen of your own husband's castle.
Exactly.
Not this one.
Yeah, I don't support that at all.
There needs to be respect. I think that mother-in-law, daughter-in-law situation sometimes can be a bit dicey, because I understand that you're the mother, you birth the child, you have poured into the kid or whatever, but you have to let him fly. The same way you two, you went to go and marry someone else's son.
Exactly. I totally agree. But I still feel like she was coming from a very clean place. And these people have just kind of and you know, it's Facebook. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm not going to say more than that, but if you know, you know. And, you know, so, but I just feel, you know, they've sort of exaggerated that response. I think it was just more from an emotional, you know, just an emotional mommy moment, like, I can't believe my son is, you know, considering dating. The fact that she opened up, you know, most guys will not open up. It will just happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is my girlfriend. Or, you know, or maybe it might just happen a bit later, you know, or they might have had, you know, just one or two things, or they keep, you know, what happens at school, or, you know, wherever the relationship is formed, they just keep it there.
Yeah.
So, but then, you know, him actually coming like, oh, mother, I think I've fallen in love.
Mother.
And, you know, so I think she just can't take it, because it's like, oh, one moment you're asking for toys or Power Rangers and you want to play football. And then, no, you're gradually creeping into that stage where you just might meet the love of your life. So I think that's why she can't.
Personally, or if you're a son out there of dateable age, start letting your mother know that you're not a baby anymore, because your girlfriend or your wife shouldn't have to deal with your mother's irritation or your mother's inability to let you go. So that's your job. So I would suggest that you start now, unless you don't want the women in your life fighting. I can tell you that for free.
Actually, I don't think, you know, I don't think parents or mothers should, I don't think they should feel threatened.
Exactly. You play a different role.
Yes.
You occupy a different space in his life.
You just see it as, you know, like gaining a new child.
Exactly.
And it's not even going to be like, would I say, as intense per se, because it's not like, oh, they're like, it's like an infant that you're adopting or something. This is a full-grown adult that can take care of themselves. So it's more just like an emotional, you know, relationship that you're establishing. But I guess a lot of women tend to feel like, oh, my son, you know, he's all his resources, he should pour back into me. It's like, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, guys.
It doesn't work that way, and it shouldn't either. Moving swiftly on. Nigerian social media has erupted after controversial figure VeryDarkMan took aim at billionaire businessman Obi Cubana. The clash stems from Cubana's recent plea to blogs to stop promoting content featuring young people disrespecting elders online. VeryDarkMan, known for his outspoken criticism, fired back, accusing Cubana of being uncomfortable with scrutiny. He claims his critiques expose wrongdoing among the wealthy elite, like Cubana's lavish spending habits. VeryDarkMan further criticized Cubana's focus on wealth over social issues impacting Nigerian youth. He argued true leadership lies in supporting the youth, not silencing critics. So this whole thing between Obi Cubana and VeryDarkMan started, I think, with you're a Chivido guest, so I'm sure you know full well. You were even there, you even saw Iyabo Ojo.
Seriously.
Sure. So I think it started with the whole thing where VeryDarkMan was calling Iyabo Ojo out for only being invited to the after party of the wedding of David Adeleke and Chioma Adeleke now. And I think Iyabo now, you know, showed her invitation that she was actually invited to the actual ceremony. It wasn't just the after party. And so this was the response by Obi Cubana, saying that blogs shouldn't have posted VeryDarkMan's, you know, what he had said about Iyabo Ojo, that they're encouraging young people to disrespect their elders. Let's start there.
Okay.
Like, what I don't know, what does this have to do with anyone with age? What does it have to do with age?
So, to be fair, of course, Iyabo Ojo is older. So,
Yeah.
if that's the only aspect you can say, okay, disrespecting the elders. But at the same time, so in the light that he's coming from, maybe not necessarily, accurate. It's not necessarily a thing of disrespecting elders. But at the same time, VeryDarkMan, in my opinion, was wrong. Because what was the reason? Like, what was the actual reason? Because, she was just happy, talking about, like, the invitation, at least from, what I watched. She was just happy talking about the invitation and everything. And then he just comes from nowhere and starts, coming at her and saying stuff like, what did he even say? He was just basically, like, attacking her, like, did you even get the proper invites? Like, it's giving, like, even if you have those reservations, I think there are reservations for offline, not necessarily reservations that you air online. It was unnecessary to me, I'll be very honest. So fine, he might be coming from the respect the elders, which is a valid point out of context, but still a valid point. But I still feel that VeryDarkMan was wrong, because there was no need. There was literally no need for him to do that. Like, people can be happy. She was happy to, flaunt her invitation. I mean, some other people didn't get invited. Some people did. And she, was, privileged to be invited to do it. So I don't know why. I just felt like he was really just doing the most.
Fair enough. I mean, VeryDarkMan, that's his brand. His brand is doing the most. That's his brand, right? But I just don't get what the respecting the elders has to do with anything. And again, I think this is what we're talking about with regards to the lecturer in the trending videos. It's just the whole thing of, it's over familiarity. I don't know, like, honestly, if we're going to respect people, let's respect them because they're people and because we have that sense of everybody deserves to be treated the way you want to be treated. Not because they're elders. Like, why is that the leading argument?
I understand. Like, to be
because if you flip it, it now makes it seem like if you're younger, you take anything that the elder gives you because they're elders.
Yes.
For me, the issue is that the respect is not reciprocal.
Yes.
And if it's only one way, they're older than you, so respect them. Like, that is not what we should lead with. I'm not saying it's false, and as Africans, we certainly have that ingrained into our culture, but why is that the thing that we lead with? Why don't we encourage mutual respect?
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree with that point. It always feels like, respect your elders. Oh, your elder did this to you, so respect
exactly.
it. Oh, don't speak up. I'm like, you can speak out against certain things that older people do. You can do it respectfully. You don't have to be disrespectful about it. But then I think silencing the youth is where the problem is.
It's a huge issue.
But the only issue I have in this context is that what he did was very uncalled for.
Yes, true.
So, he coming out to say, that Obi Cubana can't take criticism. No, it was unnecessary because what he did, in my opinion, was very uncalled for.
Fair enough. We call a spade a spade. We call a spade a spade. Moving on, then, the federal government has announced the disbursement of the second tranche of the 5 billion naira creative fund established for Nigeria's creative industries in December 2023. This news comes courtesy of Fego Umunubo. I apologize for murdering your name. Special Assistant to the President on Digital and Creative Economy, who shared the update on his Instagram page. According to him, the relaunch under President Bola Tinubu's Hope Agenda took place last week at Eco Hotels in partnership with Providence Bank. This follows the successful disbursement of 1.5 billion naira to 4 producers/actors for their film projects. The announcement signals the government's continued commitment to supporting the growth and development of Nigeria's creative sector. So effectively, the federal government is disbursing money to the creative sector, which is a good thing. Yeah. It's nice to encourage. I mean, Nigerian entertainment is huge. Music, acting, especially right now, really big. So it's good to see the government putting their weight behind that and helping us to, push our content, grow our skill, such that we can represent Nigeria well beyond the shores of the country.
I think it's really good. I had heard of this, I think last year as well, but I didn't actively follow up on it, so I didn't even know that it had been successful eventually. And it's good to see that at least something is working in this country, because But you know, the entertainment industry is it's really blooming.
Yes.
And it's nice. I mean, there are the ups and the downs, especially in my opinion, especially when it comes to the acting. You know, the movie industry. You know, and my personal issue is that there's a lot of, yes, there are, you know, new ideas and the quality is getting better, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it looks like, you know, somewhere along the line where I don't know if this is just a personal, you know, thing, but somehow it just seems as if like now we're just sort of throwing out, you know, like morals and throwing out, and it's creeping in very slowly.
Okay.
And I think that's part of the problem because, you know, obviously it won't hit you all at once unless, you know, you're really intentional with what you're consuming.
Morals, how are we throwing out morals in the entertainment industry?
So let me not say throwing out morals.
Okay.
But it kind of is. That's the thing. So for example, there's like a lot of, I think they've gotten very comfortable with a lot of explicit scenes. Again, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
They've gotten very comfortable with, you know, explicit scenes and stuff. And fine, I agree. Some movies will not have, not all children, of course, won't be able to watch all movies. And not all movies will be family friendly. But I think
we're sort of far.
Yes, I think we're taking it too far.
Fair enough.
My personal opinion, again.
I mean, I would say that that's probably because we're trying to compete on the global stage. And I think that's what obtains, you know, in the West to a large degree. Do you not think?
I mean, yes, but even the funny thing is that I feel like even, you know, in the West, there were still, you know, ways to show that, okay, something happened without showing us how it happened. I don't know if I'm passing my point. So, but now it just feels like, you know, Nollywood, and they used to be like that before, you know, obviously, yes, we know, okay, she got pregnant, but, you know, we didn't need to see how, okay, she got pregnant, you know. But it's like now everyone has just gotten kind of comfortable with, you know, it's okay, it's just a kissing scene. Oh, it's okay, it's just a... And, you know, some people are married and I'm just here looking like, you guys are comfortable doing that?
I'm screaming. Lydia is basically saying she can't marry a Nigerian actor.
That's what I said.
That's the bottom line.
No,
she said Nollywood actors, don't come near me.
No, that's not what I said. But there will be boundaries. I mean, everyone, you know, happy. As long as you're happy in your marriages, of course, and your spouses are doing all right. I mean, could continue. I just feel, you know, it's nice that we're getting funding and all of that, but I feel like we shouldn't have to throw out, you know, like the, you know, like
interesting.
You know,
what makes us like Africans or Nigerians?
Exactly, because I think a lot of people really respect us because of the culture, and culture is also a very dicey thing.
Very dicey.
There are the very good parts and the not so good parts.
100%.
But as a whole, people generally respect people that actually have like a, would I say sort of like a stable culture, an established culture in their life. So when they're like, oh, you're Nigerian, like, okay, you know, this person, fine. We have issues like we just talked about with, you know, respecting elders and all of that. But you know that this person is a Nigerian. They will not be disrespectful, you know, for the most part. They won't do the most if you don't, if you respect yourself. But then it's like, okay, fine, we're trying to compete on a global scale. But I think that's where we could also just try to make a difference. We can still, you know, do good films and put out good content without necessarily thinking that, you know, being explicit is what will sell. I mean, it sells, but I mean, hey, it's one thing or the other, because right now I feel we have a society that is suffering because of the content they are consuming.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
that is a fair point.
I'll just stop there, but you know, that's just what I feel.
No, that's a really good sort of observation there, and I think what we'd just say is, you know, the Nigerian entertainment industry is doing very well, but let's keep what makes us Nigerian. Let's maintain our authenticity. And that in itself is what will distinguish us and take us far. I think that's what we can say there. So let's take a little pause and go on a short music break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Tea Time. We hope you enjoyed the music break and encourage you again to do call in on any of the topics we've talked about so far if you want to chip in, or even the topics we are yet to discuss. You can feel free to call in on 0909 8408 408 just to share your thoughts and opinions. But we'll be moving on to our girl, Nollywood's sweetheart, Nollywood's damsel. Nollywood actress Sharon Ooja has finally revealed her husband to us after months of keeping his identity private. The Oloture star shared a video on her Instagram page from the traditional wedding ceremony held in Abuja on Thursday, the 27th of June, 2024. The clip shows Sharon Ooja and her beaming groom posing for photos, radiating joy on their special day. In the caption, she wrote, you know, "This is the king of my heart." She called him her absolute king. And, you know, this reveal comes after Ooja announced her legal marriage in March, piquing fans' curiosity about her spouse. Yeah. I mean, beautiful pictures. Like, the ceremony was gorgeous. Really, really. I mean, I didn't expect anything less from Sharon.
Steps. I didn't expect less.
Yeah. She's stunning, so it only makes sense that.
And I've been pretty excited, actually, especially since I saw, you know, like the video she put out.
That video was serious.
It was very serious.
That video was a production.
And it baffles me that we didn't get to see his face at all. Like, how did you guys pull that off? Because
wow. Honestly, she really tried. Like, there were no leaks, nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Big ups to you, sis.
Honestly. But, I mean... some people had a lot to say, Sha, about that time when she was like, why did you do this whole film? You recorded a film for us. You shot a movie, and we only saw one cast member out of the two. So, like, what is this about his back that we must see?
So I think, well, to be fair, on one hand, she could have just, you know, maybe put a picture of like a ring, like, you know, I'm taking, you know, but it was also one thing to like share the joy that she felt in that. At least that's what I feel. Wanting to share the joy, you know, in that moment, but also probably just not being ready to show him yet, or show his face.
But why? What are people afraid of? Because this is a thing now on social media. Like, people will not post there, and like it's only really the women that are gatekeeping their men. I don't know what happened. Like, the men don't care. Like, that's if the men even use Instagram in the first place. But it's the women that will hide their man's face.
So I think...
What is there to hide?
You know, well, there are different... People have different reasons. Sincerely, people have different reasons. Some people obviously probably come more from a spiritual, you know, aspect, like, you need to preserve him, you know, you don't want, maybe, I mean, people have been through different things, that's the truth. So
preserve him, a full-grown adult.
I mean,
can't what is you that will not preserve him?
Not preserve, like, you know, preserve, just preserving his identity. So, I'm trying to put this in the...
No, because I just feel like, if you're going to either show them or don't, all this one hand, back of your head, beard, chest. So what are you actually trying to achieve?
Trying to show you that my partner is there, but I'm not ready to show you who he is yet.
Maybe you will be okay. You'll all be alright.
Sincerely, I still feel like it's kind of valid. Like, sure, I want to share my joy with you guys, but maybe I'm just not necessarily ready. And obviously, you're not going to put, you know, guys, I got engaged yesterday. No, like, you'd rather just want to show like a picture, like a video.
So wait, the same people that you want to share your joy with are the people you're scared of. So why are they deserving of your joy in the first place?
So I feel that, so like I said, I feel people have been through different things.
Yes.
And so, you know, there might be like certain situations. So, and I think which kind of leads us a bit deeper into the conversation, how people have been, you know, saying stuff.
About Sharon?
Yes, and, you know, like her new husband. How he's in quotes, he's been married 3 times, with, you know, 3 different kids. You know, so it's like, it might not even be because you're scared per se, but, you know, the person that you're with, you know, he has probably been through different things. Yeah, exactly. They have like a history. It might not, a lot of it might not be true, but sometimes, you know, it's social media. You can't really control. The most you can do is probably just not post. Yeah. Right. But, you know, there are still people that will come out and talk. There are still people that will come out and say things, even if they're not true. So I think, you know, preserving, you know, your partner's identity. I mean, it can be valid sometimes, but there are some people that there's nothing wrong and they're just hiding them. And they're like, sis, we're not trying to steal your man. Like, have your man to yourself, be happy. Everybody will have their own man eventually by God's grace. So, I mean, you know, it can be valid sometimes, but some
Fair
other
enough.
times.
I mean, like you said, we've also had some other sort of things coming up, rumors flying around about Sharon and her husband. In terms of, like you say, apparently him having been married 3 times, they refer to her as a 4th wife, when really, if it is at all true, what really they mean is that this is his 4th marriage. She's not, apparently, if he ever was married, I want to caveat this because if he ever was married, he's not still married to any of his previous ex-wives, 3 ex-wives. But what do you think about that, especially in light of the fact that, you know, Sharon did an interview yesterday at her wedding, I believe, where she was, you know, telling her love story, and she was saying how, you know, somebody gave him her number, and then within 2 months he asked her out, and then 3rd month she was engaged, and then 5th month they were married.
So
like that timeline. I know I've come on here to say talking stage shouldn't last long, but now we're now doing 5 months strangers to married.
So the talking
wild.
stage, yes, it really should not be long, but being in the relationship. And I've heard this statement, I don't know how true it is, but a lot of people have said that, you know, men, you know, they quickly
they know.
Yeah, if they know, they know. We are usually the ones, because truth be told, it is easier for a man to find a good woman than for a woman to find a good man. And no, I'm being very sincere. It is a lot easier. And if you really look at it, you find out that it's true. Because men, there are a lot of women, we know, you know, fine, women are different, but generally women, you know, they want to be there for their partners, they want to be supportive, you know, they would naturally be submissive, you know, in, of course, the right submission, not necessarily pounding yam and all those things, but they would be, you know, submissive when they see that, you know, you are actually caring, you're in the lead and all of that. So, but oh my gosh, I think I spoke too much. I lost my train of thought. But where I was going is the relationship to me. The timeline of the whole thing to me is too short.
Yeah.
I
think people, you can't blame people for being skeptical, but at the end of the day, we don't know the truth. Like, we don't know the full truth. We don't know the whole behind the scenes. So I think all we can do as well-wishers is to just pray that, you know, this is indeed, you know, Sharon indeed heard from God, and this is indeed the husband that God has destined for her. And we just wish her the best, really, going forward with her marriage. So moving on, speaking of the billionaires, like Sharon's husband is apparently, Bill Gates' daughter, Phoebe Gates, has gone Instagram official with her boyfriend, Arthur Donald, grandson of music legend Sir Paul McCartney. The 21-year-old shared a series of photos from her Stanford University graduation ceremony, including one with Arthur, giving her a piggyback ride with the caption, "My boyfriend, Arthur, giving me a lift post-ceremony." Rumors of their relationship swelled after a picture of them together in Paris surfaced in October 2023. While Phoebe previously declined to comment on their relationship status, these recent posts confirm they are indeed dating. And this is just it. The rich marry each other, and they keep their blood pure and blue. Blue blood, keeping the blood blue. Because do you know this kind of union is a very powerful one? Paul McCartney's grandson and Phoebe Gates, Bill Gates' child. Like
that is massive.
Wow. That is a powerful union. That is a powerful union. And I do think that, like, a lot of rich people, a lot of rich kids are encouraged to marry. Like, they're not even encouraged to look below. Like, I think class is a huge thing when rich kids are looking to settle down. Yes. Because I think their families will ingrain it into them that, see, we haven't worked for all this, or our generations haven't, you know, managed to keep up such a legacy and status by diluting our, like...
That's a very strong word.
I mean, I do think that's how rich people tend to see things, especially people of that kind of sort of status, billionaire status.
So, it's possible, and to an extent, it can be understandable.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you don't want to go into a relationship having certain expectations.
Yes, or the people just marrying you because of what they knew you have. If you marry someone that has equally as much, then it's not for the money.
Yes.
It's not the money.
But the thing is that there are also other people too that meet you on, you know, very plain grounds, and you know, they might not even have known initially that oh, you're Bill Gates' daughter, and oh, you're you know, Paul McCartney's son. So I feel that, so you know, stuff like that should really change, because people should be encouraged to be with each other.
Well,
you know, I mean,
even as non-rich billionaires, especially women, are not encouraged to marry down.
Okay.
Women are encouraged to marry up. In terms of someone that can take care of you, somebody that can look after you. Like, so even, you know, outside of billionaire status, I think that's something that actually exists. And I think as women, especially in Africa, like, men are the head of the home and the providers and all this jazz. And so naturally, it's like, you're not going to marry someone that's a man that's poorer than you now. Are you? Are you?
Yeah.
Why
do you feel like you're my mom? The way you ask. but I mean, generally speaking. So yes, definitely, you should strive to obviously be with someone who can provide for you and, you know, all of that. But I also feel, you know, to an extent, the providing is also, I mean, yes, the providing is important too. I beg. The providing is important. But I think it also has to do with, you know, let me say up here, because some people have wealth, fine, and they know how to spend it, they know how to give it to you. They don't necessarily know how to steward it, to recreate it, you know, all of that.
Fair enough.
So I think, you know, if you have someone, I did say you should go and marry anybody, please, but if you have someone, if you see that, okay, the little that they have, they're capable of stewarding it well, then, you know, you shouldn't totally write them off.
Fair enough.
Weigh your options.
Personally, I always encourage hypergamy as a woman. I think that you should, there should be a positive difference between, if you're going to take someone's last name, let it be worth it.
Okay.
This is just what I think. Let it be worth it. But this is where we have to draw the curtain today. Thank you all so very much for watching, as always. You can join the conversation on social media with the hashtag Teatime. And remember, you can catch up on our previous episodes, including this very one, and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel at +tvAfrica Lifestyle. You can also watch Teatime on R2TV and in London on Ben Television and DSTV channel 408. A big thank you goes to my co-anchor, Lydia.
Oh, thank you, Will.
And of course, to the entire production team. Thank you as well to yourselves. We're really grateful for you watching +tvAfrica's Teatime. My name is Mululuwa, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.